Oh boy, Agatha All Along. This show is a twisty turn rollercoaster of a ride. Right when we think we are settling in, a big reveal just drops right out of nowhere, and we are left where we are today. But in the midst of all of the chaos, we have to start at the beginning. It all began with a teen when he entered the show. Now, he entered when he was stealing something from Agatha. I don't think the show specified what. And eventually attempted to break her from the spell through a series of different trials and illusions, which in the end it actually worked. He also had a lot of faith in witchcraft in general. He's like a fanboy. And he was in the following episodes, as we could even see when she was recruiting people. It then gives us hints about Agatha's boy. And eventually we learn a rumor that she traded him for the Darkhold. Then we don't hear much about him until later in the show. Ooh. One weird thing that we noticed straight away, and even got pointed out directly in the show, was how the teen had a curse on his mouth that prevented him from saying his name or anything about him. Also, Agatha for some reason acted like she was listening, but she really couldn't hear anything he was saying. It wasn't until the other witches pointed out in episode 2 or 3 to the teen himself that he knew, and he didn't even know what the curse was. So whoever put this in him was sneaky, and the curse is on for a reason, whether good or bad. And it's not broken until the reason is fulfilled. Now, what is the reason? Well, hopefully we can piece something out. We all want to know that. So who could have done it? Well, it could have been the same person who took away the powers of some of the other witches. Was it the Salem 7? We know that Agatha stole the power from her mother and other witches that were there during the time in Salem, because you can steal a witch's power if they cast it. Maybe the Salem 7 being, special witches and all, each with their own weird, quirky uniqueness, to say the least. Some of their walking is very, very questionable. But maybe one of them stole the witch's power. Maybe they could be the villain or enemy of the show. Dun dun dun. Not gonna lie, that would be way too obvious if they were just the complete villain. They're definitely a character and antagonist of the show, but they're not the main villain. They just can't be. There's gotta be more to the story. But then we go back to the house, which is the first trial. And it mentions Mephisto in word form. I think this is the first time in the MCU that this has ever happened, which brings me to believe that he has something to do with either the teen or Agatha's son. Maybe he committed the trade. Maybe he took away some of the witch's powers. Maybe he had something to do with the teen's curse. Something to do with Alice's mother's disappearance. Going all the way back to WandaVision, actually, Mephisto was hinted at, and probably was supposed to be in the original version of the show with Doctor Strange. There was what I believe to be a helmet or something of some sorts in the cartoony 60s intro song in the second episode. And I think they brought Doctor Strange and more magic into the show. If they did that, he would have been a much bigger part. But they wanted to keep Wanda the main focus, no Doctor Strange, no Mephisto. And we figured this all out a year or two ago, maybe even more, because of the leaks. I'm sure Marvel was not happy about that. Then here we are again, another character that has the potential to be the villain of the show, or if you want to call it a character, Death. It was shown very briefly in one of the house illusions. It was Lilia walking into this dark and gloomy room with some Salem-y woman, and then Death just came up behind her. And yeah, that was a really well done scene. Then we don't see Death again, but then another lady shows up, Rio. So we see Rio in the first episode, then she's gone, Death in episode 3, and then Rio pops in episode 4. This may be a very loosely based theory, but I would predict that she may be Death herself, because even in the comics, Death is depicted as a woman, she's a woman. But let me emphasize, this theory is very loosely based, so chances are it's going to be wrong. But who the heck is the villain of the show? We have 3 different contenders here, and the show wants to be super confusing. Then we get to the end of the latest episode, and spoiler alert, the teen is Wiccan, and Agatha's you really are your mother, and gets all vengeful and lost his faith in witches, and is probably thinking in his head, oh, nobody talks about her like that. Okay, maybe not, but still, he is not happy. So he uses his powers, which I thought he lost, but newsflash, he didn't. He controls the witches, and they all end up getting buried in the mud. And he shows off his crown, and a very fitting song plays at the end. You should see me in a crown. Of course, I can't play that on YouTube due to copyright reasons, but phew, boy, this was well done. So yeah, what is going on? What do I think? Well, I think the boy is going to be against the team in the end. But like I said earlier about Mephisto, yes, I'm not going to give up on him. I think he's going to come in at some point and try to team up with the teen and the witches. Somehow, the Salem 7 are going to get tied up in it because the last final 2 episodes are both releasing on the same day, October 30th. which means they're very tied together and they don't want it to be separate. Plus, Disney wants us to watch it on Halloween. But anyway, they're gonna get tied up into it somehow. And the witches continue on the road, the boy catches up, then Mephisto says something that really catches the boy off guard. It is revealed that he did something to the teen as a child, or some kind of big reveal. The teen departs from Mephisto, teams up with the remaining witches, back with them on a team, gets Mephisto. Then, when everybody thought they won, this is where the Salem 7 just randomly jump in with their animal-y traits, and they casually defeat them. Is this really what is going to happen? Well, probably not. Maybe something loosely based on what I said, and some of it will get tied in, but I'm not the greatest of writers. I mean, I'm nowhere near the skill level of Marvel writers. Well, maybe better than some of their latest projects, but all jokes aside, what do you think is going to happen in the show? Do you like the show so far? Just put all your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to respond and chat with your thoughts. And be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, drop a sub if you want to see more like this. Anyways, I'll see you in the next episode, and have a good one. Peace.